first read the script, I said to my manager, I was like, I gotta find a way to get in this film, you know. And I didn't know where I would fit. You know, I wanted to play Jesse, but I was okay with playing like Jesse's best friend or whoever. So, you know, for me, I just wanted to be a part of the story. But nonetheless, I got a meeting with Stephen, and I flew out to meet him in Montreal, I think, and we had a conversation for a couple hours. It was real casual. And, you know, he sort of spoke to me about that time and his vision for the film and things like that. And then I gave him my reading, my take on Jesse, and sort of just left it alone for like a couple weeks maybe. And then I got a call saying I was gonna be Jesse. Very little, very little. Like I said, when I got that call, you know, about the Jesse Owens biopic, I kind of scratched my head a little bit, like, oh, who is? Oh, yeah, Jesse, yeah. So I had to, like, you know, research and remind myself about who he was and what he had done. And then obviously I was blown away to even have the opportunity to audition. Yeah, even more so than this athlete he was, you know, the fastest man on the planet and this big track star. I was attracted to just him as a person, who he was as a human being. You know, I learned so many things about him as a man, as a father, that, you know, it just really blew me away. It blew me away to learn about the type of humanitarian he was. You know, he's a person who treated everybody exactly how he wanted to be treated, a person who was colorblind. You know, he didn't see color. All he saw was, you know, the love for, you know, his sport, running. And, you know, through that, he was able to transcend, you know, not only the sport, but the world. And so that's what brought me to him mostly. You know, I was like, everyone thinks of Jesse Owens and they hear this big athlete, they think of, you know, this big superstar, fastest man alive. But to me, I was just like, how do I capture who he is as a human being and show people that, you know, bring a level of humanity to this hero.
And that
yeah, all of that. You know, to me, it's always been about telling the truth. You know, no matter how ugly or pretty that truth was, the biggest thing for me was to try and be accurate. And that's not only with the way he physically did things, running-wise, or how he spoke, his cadences, how he carried himself, but just the whole story in general. We wanted to give an accurate account. Yeah, I got to hang out a lot with his daughters, and you know, they've been pretty much instrumental in the whole filmmaking process from the beginning. From like the script writing stages, you know, they were, you know, in the writing rooms like, oh, daddy wouldn't say that, or you know, yeah, for sure. You know, they helped with, you know, things that, you know, he would or wouldn't say, and you know, things that they, you know, daddy didn't do that, you know. So those things are so helpful, you know, from the ground, you know, from the foundation of the whole thing. And then for me, you know, just being around them, I was, you know, they speak to me all day long with stories about their father. You know, to them, he's just daddy. He's not this big, you know, track guy, this legendary guy. He's just daddy. You know, so when they talk about him, they say, you know, daddy did this, and daddy would say that. And, you know, I kind of feel like they're talking to me. So, you know, it's really cool. I'm going to spend a lot of time with them, hung out with them a lot. We went to Beijing this summer and hung out. And they've been just invaluable to me to just lean on and ask anything about their father, you know. Yeah, you know, I would be amiss to say that I wasn't a little intimidated by the whole thing. Anytime you're playing somebody who's that iconic, you know, he's larger than life almost. So, you know, obviously there's pressure there. There's pressure there to want to, you know, not only make, you know, his fans happy, you know, people who still love him all over the world, but his family, most importantly to me, you know, carry on his legacy in a way that they appreciate it, and you know, really do justice to his life, his whole life story. So, but yeah, going back to the whole physical aspect of it, I was shooting Selma down in Atlanta, and basically every off day I had on Selma, I went down to Georgia Tech and was training with the track and field coaches there. So, you know, to make sure that I was getting my conditioning right, you know, that I was learning not only how to run fast, but how to run like Jesse because of how particular his running style was. So I had to pay attention to the details. I had to pay attention to how he started, what was his stride like, what was his pace like, everything. You know what I mean? That was in the details for me, and picking out the little things and doing it so much, you know, running like him so much that I couldn't run any other type of way. So if you guys asked me to run right now, I'd run exactly.
99%
of the running was me. 99%. I wanted to make sure that the director could shoot from wherever he wanted to shoot, and not feel limited in any way. And then, you know, as an actor, you want to go through that process if you're playing the fastest man alive. You want to do something. You want to feel what that whole training regimen's like, and you can't fake that. You can't fake, you know, being this, you know, world-class athlete. That's what he was. You know, I was always into basketball, football. There's a pretty big football game on today. I was just thinking about that. It's probably on right now.
Don't worry, it's the coin toss right now.
It's the coin toss? Yeah, you might have to turn it up. But yeah, no, I always wanted to play basketball growing up. So I wasn't unfamiliar with athletics. It wasn't you know, a difficult thing for me to transition you know, into being a runner. It's obviously different, but you know, I was used to being physical and agile and things like that. I just had to learn what it meant to be a runner, you know, to be a real track runner. So I think I ended up doing 100 in like just over 12 seconds. I got it pretty quick.
Scary.
Wow. Yeah, a little scary. I mean,
you could get injured, no?
Yeah, you could. But like I said, I wanted to do that. There was definitely days where I was very, very sore. You know, nights where I was in ice baths, but you know, that's why we have massage therapists on set. David's an incredible actor, just performer. So to be around him is, you know, it's been great. It was, you know, I can't say it was too difficult to work with him. But yeah, you know, you look at the relationship that him and Jesse formed. You know, Jesse went over to Nazi Germany and became best friends with a German long jumper. You know, with people, a lot of people didn't expect to see that sort of a relationship happen. And they remained friends for their entire lives until Liz passed away. So, you know, that's a clear example to me. It really embodies, you know, the type of lives we should all look to sort of lead. You know, that, you know, it's really not about black or white or what you look like, or where you come from, you know, your path, your backstory. It's really about focusing on the things that unite us. And for them, it was running. It was the love for track. And that overpowered anything that could separate them. Well, for me, it wasn't, you know, I never thought that being Canadian was going to be a problem for me to play any of these guys. Daniel Day-Lewis played Lincoln. David Oyelowo played Dr. King. Yeah. So for me, it wasn't anything that I looked to as a barrier or anything like that. I was just going to have to learn about the time. You know, if I hadn't gone through some of these stuff myself, I was going to have to learn about what it was and what that was like, and sort of immerse myself in those worlds. To me, it's so much bigger than an American problem. You know, it's not an American problem. It's a problem the world over. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I was in no place to judge America any differently than the rest of the world. I just took the information for what it was. You know, there are things I learned about that time, and I learned about Jesse and how he, you know, how he sort of, you know, did things. And his relationship with Larry wasn't perfect at first. You know, he has to get comfortable with a person like that. You know, a person, an authoritative sort of figure over him. You know, but he didn't know. So he had to get used to that whole relationship and building with Coach Larry. But over time, you know, you see in the film that he is able to look Larry in the face, and those things change over time because they become, you know, more than, you know, a coach and athlete relationship. They become friends. He was great. He was great, really, since the beginning. We, you know, we met up pretty early on. I think we hang out in New York for a bit, and I got to just really talk to him, you know, just normally. You know, we never really talked about, you know, the script too much in the first days we were hanging out. You know, we just tried to build a foundation with each other, and it happened pretty quickly, I gotta say, because he's a huge sports guy. I'm a huge sports guy. We would just talk basketball all day, baseball all day, whatever it was. We were just talking sports, so we connected like that. And you know, I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised with what he was able to do with this film. You know, I think he's so much more talented, or he's so much more than just a comedic actor, and people are going to finally be able to see that. But for me, it was easy. It was easy to work with him. You know, obviously, it doesn't help that he's funny. Sometimes, more so off set than on set. You know, because of some of the serious things we were dealing with. But we definitely had our moments, for sure. More so hearing from his daughters. You know, that was better than anything I could have found on the internet. So for me, hearing from them, learning about who he was as a person, that was it. I knew if I could tap into that, you know, people would be interested in you know, watching the film. Ever since I was a kid, I was just infatuated with like impersonations and you know, not even really famous people, like people I run into on the street or people in my family. I would impersonate a lot. I always liked being people outside of myself. And I don't know what it was. It's just fun. It's like playtime to me. But in terms of when I started taking it seriously, I've been acting now professionally for about 6 or 7 years now. And you know, it just started in high school, and I sort of started taking the theater program really seriously. And you know, once I realized how people were sort of reacting to me, because I've always sort of been kind of shy, even though I liked doing those things. I was always a little bit shy.
Jesse.
Yeah, and I still am. But you know, acting is one of those things where I felt like I could express myself, if you will. And you know, I started realizing how people were reacting to me and the things I was doing and the performances I was putting on in school, and it gave me the confidence to try and get representation and go into film and television. So it's been pretty cool so far. Yeah, I would love to. I write all the time. You know, I have like pilot ideas and stuff like that, and film ideas and stuff like that. But I'm the type of actor who, you know, I like to hang out with the directors. I'll go behind the monitor and like, you know, hang out just to see the way the directors do things. You know, taking in camera angles and different ways to shoot things. I've always been the type of actor. I watch the monitor a lot. I want to tell a bunch of different types of stories. You know, I don't want to only tell black stories. I don't want to only tell historical stories. You know, I don't want to only do biopics. I'd love to, you know, be involved in a bunch of different genres, from sci-fi to action to thrillers. You know, I want to play Spider-Man one day. You know? So, you know, I don't ever want to limit myself.
Great.